This is We Got the Beats record store in Oakland Park, Florida. I was just in there picking up some stuff. I got a whole bunch, probably bought too much, but let's go check out what I got. Greetings, y'all. I always say that at the beginning of these videos, and today it's legit because I'm in the South. I'm in Florida right now. I'm actually right now in Jupiter, Florida, working for a few months, and actually as I speak right now, I'm gonna have to get out of Dodge, as they say, because there's a hurricane kind of barreling down this way. So production is sending us to hole up in Atlanta for a little bit while it passes, and then we'll come back and continue where we left off. But anyways, before that all happened, a couple of days ago, I had the afternoon free and I drove south to Oakland Park to check out this record store called We Got the Beats. They had a lot of vinyl, and that was all kind of, in bins and everything, but the CDs, which is what I was mainly looking for, were just kind of like everywhere. They were just boxes and crates like everywhere. In the back they had like a wall of CDs that were up there. Couldn't help myself but to dig through every box pretty much. There were some where I kind of was like, all right, these are all like, disco CDs I'm not looking for, so I could kind of like move on to the next box. But so many of them, they were just like a mix and mashup of whatever, so you had to kind of dig through, and you just get that, that like thing in you that just makes you go like, well, what if like I'm ready to go, I've looked through almost all these boxes, like, my back's hurting me from leaning over and everything, but you're like, but what if that box right there has that one thing that I really want? So you go through them all, but it's a cool shop. The people who worked there were really friendly and nice, and the prices for the used CDs that I picked up were pretty good. They were like, I don't know, maybe in like $3 range. A couple of them were a little bit more, certain ones, but for the most part, I think they were like $3 for the used CDs. And I think they have a second location that's a little west of Oakland Park called We Got the Beats 2. And the guy working at the store tipped me off to that, and I think he said that store actually is bigger. So, maybe when I come back down here after the hurricane watch, I'll maybe take a drive out there. But I bought so much stuff in this visit that I almost was like, holy moly, that's like what I wanted to like buy on this whole trip down here to Florida. And so I don't know, maybe I have to like wait a little while before I go out there, and I'm just afraid I'm gonna come home with another 15 CDs. So speaking of which, I'm gonna try to whiz through these pretty quick. I don't want the video to be too long, even though I just rambled on for probably 20 minutes. I've listened, I haven't gotten to listen to all these like really through and through. I've kind of had them all in my computer and just kind of had them on shuffle. So I've heard, bits and pieces of them, but I haven't really had the time to sit and just listen to these one by one. But I'm pretty happy with what I picked up so far. So here we go. Let's run through these. 1987, we get World Party and Private Revolution. I think this is their debut. I'm pretty sure. This certainly is when we all became aware of them, that's for sure, with this song Ship of Fools. I had one other World Party CD, the one with Way Down Now on, which I think came out in 1990. I think it's called Goodbye Jumbo. And I've been thinking like, oh, I should keep my eye out for this one, and there it was. Really cool. Carl Wallinger is sort of the main dude here, and he came from the Waterboys, which I didn't know until last summer when I picked up a Best of Waterboys CD. I didn't even know he was in the band. But yeah, I really like this. It's like that late 80s alternative kind of rock, and he's got this kind of, a lot of his stuff almost sounds like kind of, I don't know if you call it psychedelic or folk kind of stuff, but it almost like sounds a little like in the Bob Dylan vein to me, But some of the tracks on here that I dig are All Come True, All I Really Want to Do, It's All Mine, and the title track Private Revolution is really good too. And like I said, I haven't probably listened to this whole CD, probably maybe half of it I've heard, but you know, I'm really enjoying it. 1986, we get the debut from Crowded House called Crowded House. They did it right, unlike a lot of other bands. First album, self-titled, sure. Fourth album, come on guys, come up with a title. Anyways, you know, everybody's familiar with this band. They kind of came right out of the gate with Don't Dream It's Over. It was a big hit when this record came out. I think that was probably the first single. I don't know why I never picked this up for some reason. It just kind of really recently, it crossed my path and was like, oh, I should pick that one up. And, you know, just kind of been on the lookout for it. And this was one of those situations. You can see it's got this old price tag from a record store called Sounds. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Sounds. Let me know. I'm not really sure where they were located. Maybe down here in Florida. You know, they had 2 copies of this there actually, and it was one of those situations where like you find a second one and kind of like, all right, which one's better, you know, in better condition or whatever. I'm really glad to have found this one, because like I said, I was just recently like thinking I want to pick this up, and there it was. Some of the tracks on here I dig are Something So Strong, which is another big hit from this, World Where You Live, Tombstone, and Mean to Me, which kicks off the album, is another good one. So yeah, happy with this one, glad I finally got it. 1984 brings us Aztec Camera's album Knife. And this has got some stickers. When I get home, I'll clean this up a little bit. This one was $5, I think I bought so many, I think the guy kind of gave me a break on a couple of them that maybe were $5, and he gave it to me for $3. I think so, if I remember correctly. But Aztec Camera, I really liked, probably like mid-80s, right after this album came out, I guess, is when I heard the tune Oblivious, and really liked that. They did a really kind of downer cover of Van Halen's Jump that I remember hearing back then, and bought the little cassette EP just to hear that song, because back then, you know, you can just look it up on YouTube or anything. I picked up that album not too long ago on CD, and I really liked it. And then last year, I think I picked up an album they put out in like '90 maybe, and I really wasn't crazy about it at all. And that was the extent of my Aztec Camera knowledge. And so I saw this there, and you know, it's earlier, so I thought, you know, maybe this is a little more in vein of the other record that I have of theirs that I like. So, you know, we'll have to check it out. On this album, I haven't really gotten a chance to listen to too much of this. I've heard a couple of songs, it's not bad. The one tune on here I really like that I heard is called Just Like the USA. That's a really good track, but yeah, gotta dig a little more into this and see what I think. 1983, we get Tears for Fears and their debut, The Hurting. Another one, not to sound like a broken record, but another one I'd kind of been looking for. I actually found this a couple of years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I found a copy of this in a Goodwill out in like Tarzana, California or something, and grabbed it off the shelf, you know, and then was really happy to see it there for, you know, $1 or $2 or something. And of course I opened it up to check to see if the CD was in there, and it wasn't. Yay. You know, that happens when you go to Goodwill every now and then. I haven't seen that happen a lot recently, but back in the day, that always would happen. You'd always find some cool stuff, and then you pull it out and you open it up and you're like, somebody stole it. But really good record. Again, you know, not a band that I really need to go into. A lot of you are familiar with them. This has got some cool tracks on it that I've heard so far, like the title track, The Hurting, Change. And of course, this has Mad World on it, which I think a lot more people are familiar of that cover that was in the Donnie Darko movie than the Tears for Fears original. But that's a really good track. I really like their version here, or their original version. Made it sound like it's a cover too. From 2009, we have the Jackson 5, and this is called Ultimate Christmas Collection. The majority of this is their 1970 classic Christmas album. We had that when I was a kid growing up. I wish I still had it. I've been kind of looking for this or that record on vinyl, and Haven't been able to find it, and on eBay it always looks, it's a little expensive or whatever. And there's a little picture of the cover you can see. I wish they had used that cover for this cover. It's kind of a cool picture, but you know, I really like their Christmas record. There's a nostalgic factor, or sentimental factor, certainly for me from growing up listening to it. And probably my favorite Christmas song of all time is on this record, on that album, called Up on the Housetop. I have a video that I did of like my favorite Christmas songs, and that's mentioned on there. In the stores looking for this one, I never come across this, you know, so I was really happy to finally pick it up. But you know, all the classic tunes are on here. Santa Claus is Coming to Town, the Christmas song, Frosty the Snowman, Little Drummer Boy, Rudolph, and on and on and on. And so this has that album, and then there's a couple of like little remixes and stuff that they added as well to this, which I'm not familiar with those. So you know, it'd be cool to check them out, but it'll be really nice at Christmas time to be able to just throw this on and have it playing in the background. 1998, we get the San Rubies album, Return of the Living Dead. Now, if you're not familiar with the San Rubies, they, in the late 80s, early 90s, were actually a band called the Sidewinders. And another band kind of had that name, and you know, the old classic story, they told these guys, you got to change your name. So they did, and they became the San Rubies. And it was funny because like 1990, they seemed like they were about to like really kind of break out, become really popular, because they had a couple of like alternative rock like hits on the Billboard charts and stuff. And but I think that name change just kind of messed them up, man. I just think it kind of halted whatever momentum they had, because people a lot of times, they don't really pay attention to those kinds of things, so they just disappear, you know. And it's a shame. They're a really good band. So I think somebody gave me a copy of this one time, like just a burned copy, and I really liked it. I didn't even know it existed, and you know, and I really liked it. So when I saw it there, I was happy to finally get a physical copy of it. Misery is really good. Paper Thin Line. They do a cover of Del Shannon's Stranger in Town, and they also do a cover of Johnny Thunder's Can't Put Your Arms Around Memory, which is really cool. I really like their version of it too, actually. So check them out, San Rubies, or check out the Sidewinders. I think you'll really enjoy them. It's like, you know, alternative rock, that kind of stuff. 1980, we get Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark and their debut album, or OMD to you cool people. This one I think they wanted a little bit more money for, I think maybe $6, but you know, I was glad to pick it up. I have maybe one or two of their later, like mid-80s records that I like a lot. This is a little more, you know, it's like new wave, a little post kind of punk, kind of experimental sound to it, but I really like it. And I wasn't really familiar with this record at all. There's a bunch of liner notes I have to read in here. Here's their whole discography. This is like a reissue of this. They added a couple of bonus tracks to it. Some of the tracks that have stood out that I've heard so far are Electricity, Pretending to See the Future, and Julia's Songs, another one. So check out the debut by OMD. Hey, I'm a cool person, what do you know? 2010, we get MGMT, or I don't know if they ever pronounced the album or the name of the band Management, right? I don't know. I don't know why I never looked that up, but this is their, I guess, second album, Congratulations. Their first one was very popular, Auricular Spectacular, or whatever it's called. I like that one. And, you know, they're kind of, I don't know how to describe them, kind of like electronica maybe. I don't know if they really fall into that category, but I actually have this CD, a digipack of it. This one's in a jewel case. But my digipack, as can happen, is all beat up. So when I saw this there for $3, I was like, let me replace it. I don't know. It's kind of stupid maybe to do that, but for $3, it's not that big a deal. But I really like this record. I think when it came out, I think their first one was so popular that I feel like a lot of people felt like let down by this record, but I like it. I don't know what the problem is. I do remember there being some sort of like kind of backlash or whatever, but I like this record. Some of the tracks on here I dig. It's Working, song for Dan Treacy, I Found a Whistle, and the tune Brian Eno. Really like it. If you kind of didn't give these guys a chance on their second record, check them out. I think if you give this a chance, I think you'll like it. I do. I don't know what that means. 2004, we get the Von Bondies and Pawn Shop Heart, produced by Jerry Harrison from the Talking Heads. So here's some stickers I got from We Got the Beat, and this is my receipt. So yeah, most of these were $3. There was one that was $8.99. I don't remember which one that was. And then there was two that were like $6. So not bad, not a bad deal. Anyways, back to the Von Bondies. I remember when this came out, there was sort of like this kind of thing between the Von Bondies, I guess the lead dude, and Jack White from the White Stripes. I think they got into like a brawl, and you know, I think the dude from the Von Bondies kind of got his ass kicked, I think. I don't know what happened to them, because this record, it seemed like they were one of those bands that people were talking about, and then I just didn't really hear from them. I'm pretty sure they're still around, but I'm just not familiar with anything else by them. This, of course, the big track off of here was Come On, Come On, which is an awesome, awesome tune. You know, it's kind of like garage rock kind of sound, you know, similar to White Stripes. I think they kind of were from the same circles, probably. Some of the other tracks on here I like are Right Away, Tell Me What You See, and The Fever is another track I like. So glad to have this one finally in the collection, and that's the Von Bondies. 2005, we get Spoon and Gimme Fiction. I have, the one record I have by Spoon is that one, it's really popular, I think it's Ga 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 or whatever the hell it is. Really like that record and have nothing else by them. So I saw this there, it's cheap, and decided to give it a pick up. It all folds out, got some kind of cool images on the back there. You know, they're kind of like alternative rock. I guess early 2000s is when they appeared on the scene, I guess, and you know, I really like them. Just a cool band. This one I haven't really listened to too much of it, so I can't really point out any specific tracks on here that I'm familiar with. They're on Merge Records, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm just excited to check a little bit more out by Spoon, because I just really am not that familiar with their catalog. 2010, we get the EP Group Love by Group Love, and really good band. I had a couple of tracks by them, digital tracks, and saw this there, grabbed it, and really enjoying it. Kind of, you know, they're like alternative rock, kind of pop. Maybe, I don't know if they have a little bit of kind of synth kind of sound to them, maybe a little bit. Don't Say Oh Well is probably my favorite track on this album. Also, the tune Colors and Naked Kids are really good. But it turns out those are actually, this is an EP, those two tracks are actually on their first full-length album, which I also picked up. This is from 2011, their debut full-length album called Never Trust a Happy Song. This one I was familiar with, there's no booklet, it's just this. One of the things I'm not crazy about with digipacks is when they do this. I mean, it's kind of cool, but you know, you like that booklet and everything. But there's the tune on here called Tongue Tied, which I had that digital track and really liked it. I don't know if that was in like a commercial maybe or something like that. Yeah, this is a really good record. I'll be honest, out of all these that I picked up, I think as of right now, I've probably heard this the most, and as of right now, I feel like this is the my favorite out of all of the records. Like every tune I was really digging. Betty's a Bombshell, Tongue Tied, like I mentioned, Lovely Cup, Spun, Chloe, and Itchin' on a Photograph. Yeah, I mean, that's like almost all the songs. 2008, we got Bob Mould and District Line. Bob Mould, of course, originally from Husker Du, then he went solo, then he formed the band Sugar, which is really good, then he went back to being solo, and he's just been really prolific for the last, I don't know, 10 some odd years. It just feels like he's putting out a record like every other year or something like that. And I always hear like a track from him. I haven't really heard any of these later albums. I I have some Sugar, I have some Husker Du, obviously, and I have like his first 2 solo records that I like quite a bit. And then after that, these other solo records, these later solo records, I have like a track here and there from them, and some of them are pretty good. I like them, but I didn't have any of those albums. And then I saw these there, and I just decided to pick them up. And by these, I mean there's more Bob Mould coming up, but really good. I mean, just just some great catchy tunes, just like alternative rock. Some of them lean a little like harder rock, almost got a harder rock kind of vibe to them. On this one, Again and Again is really good. Miniature Parade and The Silence Between Us, which that's a track that I was familiar with already, but yeah, really good pickup. You don't really usually find Bob Mould in all these used record bins, so it was kind of cool to spot some stuff by him. 2009, Life and Times by Bob Mould. Like I said, it's surprising to see him in the used bins. You just really don't see him, but another solid later solo record by him. The other thing that's kind of interesting with these ones I picked up, I don't know if his other later solo records are like that, but it's like he's got 10 tunes on the records, like that nice classic, like here's 10 songs and enjoy. It's not like some records sometimes, especially when CDs were created, and it seemed like a lot of bands started having albums with like 15 tracks or 17 tracks, and I don't know, a lot of times you were just, I guess on one hand you're like, hey, I'm getting more music for my money, but it's just, sometimes it just felt like it overstayed its welcome, or there was stuff on there you were like, this is very underwhelming, it feels like filler. But that classic, like here's 10 tunes, man, it's just great. But some of the tracks on here that I dig: MM17, Argos, Spiraling Down, and Bad Blood Better. Tough one to say over and over again. But yeah, really enjoying this. Again, I got to dig a little bit more into these. I haven't heard them completely, but really liking this Bob Mould stuff I picked up. 2012, Bob Mould, Silver Age. This was the final one I picked up. I don't think there was another. I feel like if there was another one in the used bin there, I would have picked it up. But obviously finding all 3 of these, somebody came in there with their Bob Mould collection and sold them to We Got the Beats. But again, another really good later solo record by him. I think, didn't I say where this is? 2012. I'm pretty sure I said that. But yeah, it's got these weird little drawings or icons or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the significance really of each of those is, but kind of cool. But yeah, another really good album by Bob Mould. On this one, The Descent is my favorite tune. I think out of the 3 of them, this is the one I haven't heard too many tunes from yet, so I got to really throw this on and give it a listen. But just really thrilled to find this stuff in the used bins there. It's like I said 100 times now, I'm sure you don't want to hear it again, but yeah, just really surprised to find his stuff, because it's just never do. But that is my pickup from We Got the Beats in Oakland Park, Florida. Highly recommend you checking this place out. Give yourself some time to really dig in there. I didn't pick up any vinyl. I'm trying not to really pick up too much vinyl these days, and I kind of was able to kind of keep that at bay with my visit there. But they did have a really awesome selection of vinyl as well. So check them out. By all means, let me know what tracks you dig on these CDs, if you're familiar with any of them. I'd love for some people to refer me to some favorite songs of theirs. That's always cool. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you another time. Hopefully hurricane passes by without causing too much trouble. All right, we'll see you later.